Mission 22, known by its mission name of Assassination and its file name of Keep, is one that has always interested me and has been one of my favourite maps in the entire game. In the olden days, this map was kind of the same as how it is now, but just certain elements are a lot different, including the main portion or the fortress area has a lot going on. We've got some tanks, we've got some buildings, we've got a Zeppelin, a lot of tanks in fact, plenty of tanks to go round. In fact, this is one of the only missions in the old version of the game that houses the British model tank that is based off of the Mark V or Mark VI, and the smaller tanks are actually based off of the Renault, which was a small, lightweight tank that was mainly used to take on infantry, and the bigger, heavier Mark V and VI was used to take on buildings. It did have some forward-facing machine guns, which was great to take on enemies at close range, but if you have a Google for yourself, you will definitely see the similarities. As you can see, the landscape is a lot more vertical compared to today's game, primarily around the fortress itself. The walls look more like the base of a pyramid, because if you go up in that kind of diagonal fashion, then that's kind of what you get. More dome-like, I suppose, but just the landscape is very sharp. You've got a pillbox on the front, protecting the front area there, I suppose. And you also have a checkpoint gate, which houses a couple of buildings. One of them looks like a gingerbread house. I don't know about you, but that's immediately what I think of when I see it. And then, of course, all the tanks. There is a small area for ammunition. There is like one of the main ammo boxes, but it's ginormous. The scale of certain things is just crazy in certain areas, but you can see where they were going for realism with some of these models. Primarily the tanks themselves, like I said. And the Zeppelin, which is obviously a smaller version because pigs were able to jump in it and fly around in it and do stuff with it. So yeah, that was the overall plan. This is also one of the only missions where you're able to get inside one of the buildings, or at least there is some form of a room, I guess, that is, actually has walls. Usually when you clip into buildings in this game with a camera, that's kind of it. The inside is just sort of empty. It's that facade, I suppose, that game developers use, which is made to make you think that there is something in there, but when you go in there it's completely empty. So it's an illusion essentially. But this one was actually a room. Upstairs it was the same. As you can see, it's the normal stuff, like there's nothing up there, it's just completely empty. But overall it was interesting because it plays to the concept of pigs being able to go inside buildings and use that as cover. That was going to be a main thing. It was in the main design document. But overall it is pretty funky. Elsewhere on the map there's not really much going on, and the outer edges are, as I said, very sharp, which is not what you want on a Hogs of War map, because if you go off the map you are dead, and the majority of maps in Hogs of War are very well sculpted so that it usually prevents you from going off the map. So it's pretty fair to assume that this was, not a complete map yet. Obviously, with it being one of the earliest versions, it needed a lot of work. There's no artillery yet, there's only a pillbox on the outside, so the inclination from that is that the pigs would have started, or at least your team would have started from the outside rather than being inside the fortress like we know from today. Which does then beg the question, well, what was the overall objective? Would you have had to go and steal the tanks, or just make your way into the fortress and make use of the tanks and other vehicles that are in there? I have no idea. It's all left up to speculation, but it is interesting as always, and let me know what you think of it so far in the comments below. Moving forward with development, and you can see that everything is kind of the same, just sort of modernized. You saw a mark on the ground just then. That's where the pillbox would have been, so the anticipation was that the vehicles and the buildings were still going to be in the same place. So the overall layout of the fortress area is still the same, and you'll also notice that the texture of the fortress walls are also the same, but they do get changed later on. There's still no sign of areas where the artillery is going to be. Obviously we know where they're placed. There's a large rock, I guess, where the first artillery is, and you can see another marker on the ground there where there was going to be a second pillbox. So there were updates to the map itself, because obviously, as we saw in the previous version, there was not a second pillbox. So updates have been made, and this map is very much in development. Some other things to note, of course, the main texture for the path is different leading up to the fortress. There is no minefield, and of course the area around the map's edge still hasn't been sculpted. So that is as far as we get in terms of older development, because from then on it really just progresses into the PC version, which, as we know, doesn't really change too much in comparison to the PS1 version. It's just a lot cleaner, and we know where everything is. So instead of going over the PC version, which a lot of you know already, we're going to cross over to myself live and play through the beta version of this map. So I'll see you guys over there in just a second. So welcome everybody to the beta version of Assassination. This may not look any different to the final release, but in comparison to what we looked at previously from the older version of the game, the concrete walls are now this sort of green weird texture. I don't really know what that is, but it works. You know, we're kind of used to it. The pillbox is there, the shelter is there, things look normal, but not everything is as it seems. So we're going to play through as normal and just talk about this map as we go along. And you'll see what I mean about things not being as they seem in a second. Some of you may have already spotted it, but either way, we're going to take out the scout that's on this far side. The game is not doing what I tell it to. It just sometimes, you know, breaks because it's old. Still, down he goes. He should be on low health, or at least, you know, nearly low health. I believe that's a jetpack, and that's not good, because I don't want him going anywhere near the pillbox. The more we can keep him away from that, the better. Because he's also going to take a lot of time taking his turn, when all he's really going to do is throw some poison gas, or hide. You know, that's cool. Yeah, see? Just... gonna come straight... Oh, I wanted it to come straight back at him. Because at least then that will deal with him. But then the question is, you know, do you go for the shelter? Well, my answer is yes. And also you need to position yourself so that you won't get absolutely hammered by the artillery. But you want to take out the shelter, of course. The premise of this mission is that you are on a top secret mission. And that's the other detail I was going to mention. They have another scout over here. So that is kind of the only difference to the final release of the game, is that there are two scouts on top of here. I completely forgot about him for a second. But getting back to what I was saying, the premise of the game, or of this mission, sorry, is you're on a top secret mission, and it is your job to assassinate one of the enemy's key commanders who is hiding in that shelter, as well as his personal guard as well, who are basically everybody else on the map. I'm not going to concentrate on the medals, because that would kind of take too long, and I'm just, you know, sitting here talking about the... What am I doing? Sitting here talking about the map itself. I find that this scout here is more of a distraction, because as soon as I shoot him, he's going to fall into the minefield. And you know, that's him taken care of, and now things are basically back to normal, I suppose. So I can see why that scout was removed, because either way, it is a guaranteed kill after your, like, third turn. Oh, cool. He helped me out there. That was great. The main issue is artillery, because they're going to take a little while to take down. Damaging them is a bit of a slow process, but as long as you get your shots on target, then that's kind of half the battle, really. But you want to go, you know, from within the fortress, you want to go for about 70% power with any kind of shell-based weapon, and you should be fine. He's probably going to hide, so I don't really have to deal with him too much. But getting back to the map itself, the minefield is of course here as well. And like I keep saying, it's basically the same as it is in the final release of the game. Just the only difference in terms of gameplay is having that extra scout. The gunners inside the artillery do act a little differently, so they do tend to... I mean, they still jump out and do stuff, but they also move around in different areas of the map. So they'll go down there, you know, they'll go over far that side, they'll go over the far that side. Whereas, you know, usually if they jump out, they don't venture too far away from the artillery so that they can run back again and really deal some damage, or at least try to. There is, of course, the other environmental thing of the bridge that is next to this artillery over here. That is, of course, still left in from the very early design, but was, of course, removed because, I mean, overall, it doesn't actually serve any real purpose. If the player goes over there, you know, there's no water, there's no minefields or anything, so there isn't really any point of having a bridge over there. as you can clearly see. I mean, it leads over there, you know, it follows the pathway around, but overall it's just not necessary. Well, the artilleries are close to being dead, so let's skip forward to when they are actually about to be destroyed. Oh, well, that's one down. And that's two. Wonderful. So just got to take out the gunners and then all will be well. Alright, well, bad news. As soon as I thought I was making progress, the commandos decided to drop in. So that's just wonderful. Truly it is. But one time I focus on the objective and then these guys show up. Wonderful. I have, of course, taken the airstrike from the far corner of the map, so I don't have to worry about them raining hell down on me. But I am taking some damage. And he's going right for me. No mercy at all. So I can take out the gunner and deal some damage to the commando. I might kill myself in the process, but we'll see. I don't mind. I don't really mind that much. All of my characters have jetpacks, so worst comes to worst, I just... Oh, he exploded. Worst comes to worst, I just go ahead and grab the airstrike that is left there by my dead comrade. Alright, time to use my brain and multitask with the help of a jetpack. So that takes care of you. Take care of you, buddy. Takes care of you, is what I meant to say. And then we can get rid of the scout with a shot of the snippety sniper rifle. Good times. So that's 2 and 1. Just got the commandos left. I'll be surprised if he doesn't kill him here, because he's kind of toying with him at the moment. He's just hiding in this corner and not really doing much. Alright. Cool. He died. That's a shame. I wanted to finish with all my pigs, but to be honest, I didn't expect to be playing for this long. I expected to finish before the commandos came, but sometimes that is a bit of a task, I know. But it's cool, because I've got an airstrike, and at least I can take out one of them. Preferably the dude in the corner, just because he's further away. Or it'll deal the least amount of damage possible and continue this game on and on. I know I sound like I'm in a rush, but I just didn't expect to be playing this version of the map for so long. I thought the video would be over by now. I thought I could go about my business because I'm hungry and I want to make lasagna. Because, you know, when lasagna's on the line, it's going crazy. That was a terrible throw. Boom, he's dead. And so, with this final shot, I win the game and I can go and make lasagna. No, 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 no. What? I had to press... I had to press... I had to press one button. Like, just any weapon would have done. And I managed to hover over the hide. And that cost me the life of a teammate. If that grenade makes it, I will laugh. It nearly made it. No, I've just cost the life of another team. What is going on? What? Oh. I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's fine. It's lasagna time. He's got 5 health, for God's sake, and he's managed to take out 2 dudes. I'm chopping him with the sword. That's what's going down. It has to happen. Screw you. Alright, he's dead. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been a map development video or some kind of craziness. Let me know your thoughts on this map in the comments below. I'm gonna go make lasagna now, so bye.